Very good. Ready? So, well, today we're going to be working on our week number two in the second part, right? In the first part, we worked about the problems that some physical objects can have. So we mentioned, for example, that the problems of like it is torn, or the problem that it is scratched, or the problem that the glass is cracked. Well, all those problems, no? So we mentioned a lot of different problems. And in regard of that, we also mentioned some possible solutions that we could give, right? Like it needs painting, it needs repairing, it needs um, fixing, or it needs replacing, or something like that. No, so we talk about the problems, but also we talk about the solutions, right? And we also mentioned some repetitive problems that we have. Yes, I don't know if you remember, but we were talking about some repetitive problems that we can have in different situations, no? Like, for example, when the cell phone loses the battery, so we said that it keeps dying, or when we have problems with the operative system of the computer, or when we have problems, for example, with the washing machine or the drawers. So we mentioned that it is possible to mention a repetitive problem using keep plus the verb in the ing, right? So the previous class was basically just like focused on the vocabulary of the problems that are like states, like when it's torn or when it's broken or something like that, and also problems which are a little bit repetitive, like the ones that we use with keep and ing. No, so you told me here that okay, the screen of the computer it's broken and is cracked, and also you told me like no, teacher, the screen keeps flickering, and also that the t-shirt was torn, right, and the cell phone keeps dying, and so on, so on. So you mentioned a lot of different problems. But we saw at the end of the class the second question. No, the second question says that, for example, here, wait, here it says, what would you request the products warranty to do? So it's like, okay, when we receive these problems, what are we expected to do with the warranty? Well, we are expected to request, so really ask somebody from them a refund, or maybe we can use, let me just use it here. Sorry, we can use a refund. Do you know what is the meaning of refund?
Reembolso.
Reembolso, muy bien, very good. So you need, maybe you want a refund of your money, or it's possible that you want like a change or an exchange or exchange of the product. Like, no, I don't want that product anymore. I would like to have another product, right? But all of these exchanges, refunds, complaint. What is the meaning of a complaint? Complaint.
Queja.
Una queja, right? Of course, if you call today or you take mail the company, so you're going to present a complaint because how is possible that the cell phone arrived broken, no? So many of you have already sent the activity in which you have to describe exactly that you receive a product and the product has different problems, no? So most of you already sent the activity. I think it's the play of the week number two. So in that case, the description of the problems, excellent. Now the cell phone is broken, the screen is cracked, or the screen has so many scratches, and so on, right? But today, the idea is that we can work on what happened when I have all of those problems, no? What is the problem there? So in that case, I'm going to have to create the request. Ready? Sometimes the request is simply a favor, but sometimes it's something more complicated. Ready? So let's go there into the first part. Yes. So over here, good, got it. So over here, we're going to find the direct request. Ready? The direct request is going to be mainly a favor. Yeah. So when we ask directly the person for a favor, imagine that you go to the store, Apple store, Huawei store, the supermarket, whatever you go. Ready? To complain about the product's damage, right? It's possible that if you go directly there, it's possible that you will have to talk to the person who sent you the product, or the person that is in charge. no? In which case, you will have to make a direct request. Simply a direct request is going to be simply as a favor, yes? But of course, depending on the formality of the situation, I can have a favor which is more formal or a favor which is more informal. Hmm? When, for example, they say, no, I cannot help you. I have to go to, or you have to talk to the store manager. So probably it's going to be a more formal situation. But if you talk to the store clerk, what is the meaning of clerk? Clerk. Not really, not so much, but it's the person in charge of a store, like el empleado, you know? It's, clerk is kind of the employee. Yeah, so for example, the store clerk is the person that is selling and in charge of the cashier is also the cashier. So we have like the person that is in charge of the store, no? After them, we only have the manager, the store manager, yes, which is the person like has like the power on that branch, right? After that, we have the clerk. The clerk, of course, could be the seller or the cashier or the deputy, right? So we could have the seller or a cashier or well, depending the technician. If it's, for example, a support store, we have the technician, right? So in that case, we have to talk about to one of those employees of the company, no? So then if we talk about to a formal related to a formal person like the manager, we will have to be a little bit more formal. Yes, like you compadre, por favor, not just like something more formal, no? Like doctor or whatever, or director or whatever, or you know. But if it's with a seller or with a cashier, probably we will have a more friendly relationship, no? So in which case, we're going to have different kinds of a request. Wait, give me 1 second. Dun, 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 dun. So over here, for example, if you check this out, the person is asking some different kinds of favors, no? So when we have these kind of favors, we're going to present this table. A ver, wait a second. Okay, good. So we're going to present this table in which we saw the different kinds of requests. Ready? The more formal, sorry, the more casual, and then the most formal. Ready? The first two, as you can see, they are related with modal verbs, can and could. Ready? Of course, as they are requests, as they are favors, most of them are questions, no? Because it's a solicitation that you're doing to the other person. So usually it's a favor. So usually it's with a question, no? So in that case, the first two are used with modal verbs. Ready? But the first one, it's usually used for permission. So that's why the subject is usually I. When I use a permission or when I present a permission, it's possible to present it with can or with may. That's the other possibility, no? So when I present it with can, it's more casual, but I also can present it with may. May I? Ready? May I? It's a little bit more formal, but it's also a request. Yeah. So when I say, for example, may I speak to your supervisor? May I speak to the manager? May I speak to the seller? Blah blah blah. May I speak to whatever. Yeah. So in that case, may I speak or can I speak? Yes. Or I don't know. I was wondering, can I have a refund? Yes. So can I have a refund of my money because the product so all of them, no? But in that case, guys, of course, when I use can I, it's a permission, but it's something more casual, no? So with the seller, with the person that it's like on the front desk. But when I'm going to talk about, for example, in a mail or for example, to the director of something like that, it's more likely to use may, which is a more formal request, right? If it's a favor directly to the person that the person is going to do for me, It's possible that I'm going to use could. Yes, it's possible that I'm going to use could because then I am going to ask the person, hey, could you? Yeah. When it's a favor, I can also use can you, but it's more commonly used could for asking the person, hey, could you do this for me? Could you tell me where the something is? Could you help me with this exchange? Could you check my cell phone that it's damaged? Could you check my refrigerator that keeps on freezing? So in that case, could you? It's going to be one of the most common requests around, right? It's pretty common that we use could and you for asking a favor to a person. Okay. Then, of course, in that case, as we have modal verbs, the structure is basically the same. It's going to be just the modal verb, just the subject, and then the verb. But that verb, it's in infinitive, no? Borrow and lend. No change, yeah, because it's with modal verb. So when we have questions with modal verb, we don't have any change there. Hmm? Guys, what is the difference between borrow and lend? What's the difference between borrow and lend?
Uh, Teacher, I think borrow is from me to others. So I need you to borrow me something. But when we use lend, it's like something that the other people do it for me. I don't know if I'm okay.
Close, close, John, close. So when I use borrow, it's a permission because you said for me to the others, but it's from the others to me. Yes, it's actually the opposite. So in that case, the other people is going to give something for me, but I am asking the permission to take it. I say like, is it okay if I take it? Can I borrow? Yes. Can be a book, can be money, can be anything, right? So when I say borrow, basically it's like pedir prestado. Basically, that's it. And lend, it's as you said, yes, is that the other person give me something. They do the action of giving me that object, right? So, for example, could you lend me your student IDs because the other person is going to give it to me. If I say borrow, then it's because I am going to take it. So I said, can I borrow 20,000 pesos? It's because I'm going to take it, right? Hmm? So that's the difference between borrow and let. Okay. Those two requests are going to be, as I said, with modal verbs. Yes, it's like the basic way. It's like the most common way to make a request, but it's also the most informal way to do it. Okay. Then, if I want to continue working around the permissions, yes, I am going to have four possibilities. But from these four possibilities, we have two which are real and two which are hypothetical. Ready? The ones that are real have an expression in present. So we have the expression, is it okay? Right? Is it okay? And the other, it's the question, do you mind? Yeah. Is it okay? It's easy to understand. No, well, is it okay? I'm asking if the situation is right or not. But what is the meaning of the expression, do you mind? What is the meaning of the expression, do you mind?
¿Cómo te importaría?
Exactly, very good. Like en este caso es como te importa, right? Because it's a real situation, a real request. Yes. It's not like te importaría, but te importa, right? Like something that it's really going to happen, ready? But it's also, as they are permissions, of course, we are working with the subject I, because it's a permission, of course, for me, no? So, for example, is it okay if I use your contract number? Is it okay if I use your computer? Is it okay if I use your cell phone? Is it okay if I make a call from your cell phone, right? So, or the other one is, do you mind? Do you mind if I, ready? Do you mind if I copy your answers? Do you mind if I don't know, do you mind if I return this object? Do you mind if I check my email in your computer or something like that? Ready? The first two, which are expressions in present, are going to be requests which are really going to happen. I am asking you seriously if I can do that now or not. Yes. Then in that case, as the request it's in present, yes. Well, we use normally the verb also in present. Yes. Copy, use the verb it's normal, right? Now, different from that, we are going to have the other two permissions. They are going to be used or they are going to be expressed with would. Basically, they are the same expressions than before, but this time they are going to be expressed with would. Would it be all right or would it be okay? And would you mind? Then the expression would you mind, that one is going to be te importaría. Why? Because this request, it's imaginary. It's only a thing that I said, okay, in the case that I need it, would you mind if I borrow with your cell phone? I don't actually need it. It's just a supposition. I don't actually need it. I'm just saying like, hey, would you mind borrow if I borrow with your cell phone? Probably in the future, probably in an emergency, right? And the other one, it's like, would it be all right if I called you at 6 a.m.? It's not going to happen. I don't need to call you at 6 a.m. I'm just asking you for a future reference if it's okay, if it would be all right or not, right? So notice that the expression basically is the same. Would it be okay or would it be all right? It's just that we include would, ready? And at the moment of including would, it's necessary to change the verb. Then it's not going to be is or do, right? But would plus the subject, of course, plus be. Would it be all right? Yes, and the complement. Or the other one is would, the subject, and then the verb might. Ready? After both, we're going to have the expression if because it's a permission. Yes, so would you mind if or would you mind or would it be all right if? ¿Cierto? But in both cases, the verb is going to be in past. It's not that the solicitation is in past. It's because it's unrealistic. It's imaginary, like in the second conditional. So that is why the request it's in past, right? So would it be all right if I called you at 6 a.m.? Would it be or would you mind if I borrow with your cell phone? Yes. So it's an imaginary request, but anyway, it's a request. Hmm? What do you think, guys? Questions about the difference between these two, or it's clear?
It's clear.
Okay, no problem. Tara, Emily, good. See, no, fine.
Yeah, it's clear.
Very good. So we're going to have so far, yes, the requests with modal verbs, the requests which are realistic, and the requests which are unrealistic, right? All of them, well, most of them permissions. Just one of them that it's a favor, no? But the others permissions. Can I? Is it okay if I? Do you mind if I? Would it be all right if I? ¿Cierto? Most of them permission. Now we're going to find other two expressions which are actually more formal, no? And they are going to be just a little bit complex, no? Like not complex, but longer. Yeah, yeah, longer is the word. So wait. Let's do it with this color, Yes. Okay, so the first expression of these two, it's the expression would you mind. Now, would you mind? We just saw it before, which is the importaría, but in that case, it doesn't have the if. So when the expression doesn't have the if, it's just would you mind, the next verb it's going to be in ing. Would you mind doing this for me? Then it's not a permission, it's a favor. The other person needs to do something for me. Previously, no, it was just giving permission and that's it. No, like, would you mind if I borrowed your cell phone? The other person didn't have to do anything. I did the action. But when I say would you mind, only would you mind, the next verb it's going to be in ing, and then it's because the other person is doing something for me. Would you mind exchanging this for me? Would you mind processing my request about a refund? Would you mind answer me a formal email? Would you mind sending me a text message or something like that? Yes. So in that case, when I say would you mind, it's because the other person is going to do it for me. Hmm? So I said, would you mind? And the ing. That one is not complicated. It's a little bit longer, but it's actually easier, no? Because it doesn't have if, it doesn't have anything. It's just would you mind and the verb in ing, period. Okay? And the last one, it's pretty formal. Yes, it's the expression I was wondering if. I was wondering if it's a rhetorical question, yes, in which I said that I was thinking on something. Yeah. So when I say, okay, I was wondering, it's like I was having an internal process, yes, in which I imagine if, and then I present the request. Yes. I was wondering if, well, could be a permission. I was wondering if I could sit with you here during the class, but it can also could be a favor. I was wondering if you could help me with my homework. I was wondering if you could help me with my problems of the objects. I was wondering if you could fix my refrigerator. I was wondering if you could take an eye on my oven, for example. No, so that one, the expression is more formal, right? And the idea is that we can use it with more context, no? So if you use this expression, it can be with the administrative department, it can be with human resources, it can be with the seller, it can be with no anybody, right? So that expression is really popular and it's really useful because it's going to express politely that you have some problems there and that you are thinking on asking something from you. Listo? Ready? Guys, any question, any expression from these ones that is not clear? Or are they all clear?
Here, I ask you a question.
Tell me, John.
Yeah. We can use any of this like for the same situation. Uh, yeah, maybe can I borrow your book? Or I was wondering if I could have your book. I don't know. Maybe from the same situation we I can use I can use the any of these questions.
It depends on the formality of the situation, Mike. For example, I don't know. The request it's between you and your best friend at work. The request it's lend me a mug. You want some tinto. You want a cup of coffee, ready? So you need a mug. What's the meaning of mug?
That's the object. The object.
What object? What is that? What is the mug? What is the meaning?
Como pocillo.
Un pocillo, una
Taza,
taza,
¿no?
¿cierto? Exactly, sí, un pocillito, una taza. Entonces, the favor that you need, it's lend me a mug. But this person is your friend. You have a close relationship with him. How could you ask him the favor or the permission? Imagine that he is sitting next to the mug. I mean, the mug is next to him. How would you ask the request?
Is it okay if I use your mug? I don't know.
It's possible, but in that case, well, he's closer to the mug. But yeah, of course, is it okay if I use your mug? It's fine. At any point, you're going to ask him the favor. Hey, could you pass me the mug? Because he's next to the thing, right? But what about if the mug is not next to him, but it's next to you? Imagine that the mug is, next to you. Here is the table. You are next to the table. You have the mug here. Which one would you say there? So in that case, you can say, mine. Is it okay if I use your mug? It's a permission because you are next to the object. No, so you are not telling the person to pass you the object, but you are just going to take it. You are asking permission if it's right or not. Yeah. So, but for formality, I can use the first. Yes. But imagine that, well, this is not your coworker. Yeah, I should wait. This is not your coworker. Yes, and that is not the request. Imagine that the request is I need the afternoon off. What is the meaning of that? I need the afternoon off. Como así off?
Free time.
Free time. Exactly, Magali. Very good. So I can work on in the afternoon, no? But of course, the request is not for your for your coworker. It's going to be for your boss. So this is you. This is your boss. What kind of request would you ask them?
Formal, no, formal
Formal.
question.
So how could you say? How could you pass this request to the to your boss?
I was wondering if I could have the the afternoon off.
It's a possibility, right? So I was wondering if I could, yes, I was wondering if I could take the afternoon off, right? Or the permission, which we saw at the beginning, is actually very formal, which is may I. That is also possible. May I? Boss, I'm sorry, I have a problem in my house. May I take the afternoon off? So that's another possibility. Ready? So it depends on the context, my friend John, because it depends if it's a casual or a formal situation. Okay? Okay. Listo, guys. It's important that you notice that you can always express one request as a favor or as a permission. Depend as you prefer. Yes, for example, this one allows to be seems to be permission, no? Like I need the afternoon off, so I can say I was wondering if I could as a permission. But I can use, so for example, so use would you mind, which is formal, and make it as a favor. Example, would you mind would you mind allowing me to take yes, to take my afternoon off. So in that case, I use the expression would you mind, but I transformed the responsibility, or I give the responsibility of the favor to the other. So I said, hey, would you mind allowing me to do that? What is the meaning of allow?
Permitir.
Permitir, very good. So would you mind allowing me to take my afternoon off? And that's it, right? What do you think, guys? Questions, difficulties with this request?
Teacher, what is the use of mine in this case? Will you mind?
Ah, would you mind? Like, no, it's the same, te importaría, but when I don't
Oh,
have if, it's like, te importaría hacer
um,
esto por mí.
okay.
Mm.
You if you know use if you use ing with the verb.
Exactly. If you don't
Okay.
use if, then you use ing. This one, it's a request for the other person, saying like, okay, do that for me, please, right? But this one, that is, would you mind if, it's a permission for me. It's like, is it okay if I do that, if I did that, right? So remember that these two are hypothetical requests. So I am just asking just in case, no, for example. But this one, would you mind doing that for me? It's a real request. It's like saying, okay, please do that for me. Okay, ready? Bueno, very good. So
Okay.
guys, in that case, the request, it's not only for the person that I have in front of me. Yeah. Sometimes it's for the person that is in front of me, but not always. No. So I can say, as you said, like, hey, would you mind doing this for me? Would you mind canceling my class? Would you mind, no say, if it's in the house, is it okay if I wash your dishes? If I do, is it okay if I do your dishes? Right? Would you mind fixing my computer? Or mm, do you mind taking a look on my computer? Yes. Or do you mind if we go to a movie? Something like that, right? The request is direct because it's for the person that is in front of me. But I can also have a situation in which the situation is, sorry, the request it's not for me. For example, you talk to the secretary of a person. You talk to an employee and he is not in charge. That person will have to pass the message to the real boss, right? So if I go to the Apple store, yes, but the manager is not there, I need to speak to the manager, but the manager, of course, is not there. So this is me, but I cannot speak directly with him. What I'm going to have to do is passing the message over a third person. Yes. So this one is going to be a request, but it's going to be an indirect request. Yes. What is an indirect request? Simply a message or a favor or a request that I passed from me to other person so that person can pass it to the real person. Yes. So in that case, the favor is not for the secretary. Yeah. That she is not in charge of the thing. The favor or the request is for the manager, but as I cannot speak with him directly, I would have to do it asking the secretary to give him or her the message, right? So in which case I am going to have another different way to do it. I will have to report it as reported speech, no? Like podrías decirle que cha 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 cha, depending the message, right? So in that case, sorry, I'm going to have here different ways to do it. But it depends. Depends if the situation or if the request it's a favor. Here. Okay, got it. It depends if the request it's an statement, something affirmative, or if it's a question, which is something interrogative, right? Sorry, the expressions that we're going to use usually at the beginning are can you tell or could you tell? Of course, this is per se a request. Can you tell or could you tell? Hmm? Tell because it's an affirmative statement. Hmm? And then I'm going to mention the subject number three. O sea, the manager, the person in charge, the person who is going to receive the message, right? Example in this case could be, can you tell the manager? Can you tell the manager? Yes. And now I am going to introduce the message that I want. If it's an statement, something that I want to say, I am going to introduce that and then the message. Can you tell the manager that I want to return the iPhone, for example. No. Can you tell the manager that I want to return the iPhone? This is a like the real situation is that I'm asking the secretary to give this message for me. What is the message? That I want to return the iPhone. If the message is a order or is an instruction, is an imperative, I'm going to include to and then the the imperative, the instruction. No, for example, in that case, answer my phone calls. You know, when the people is already pissed that they don't answer, so answer my phone calls. Right, sorry. That is the order. No, answer my phone calls. So in that case, I'm going to use the same expression, which is, can you tell the manager? Or I can say, can you tell him? Can you tell him? But the next part here, it's not a subject, it's a verb. So I have to connect the two ideas using to. Can you tell him to answer my phone calls? Right? So it's a question, yes, but of course, the real favorites here, no? So can you tell him? And then what I need the person to tell. Can you tell him to answer my phone calls? Hmm? This is an indirect request because, as I said before, the secretary is the person that is giving the message to the man or to the woman, right? But it's the secretary, it's not myself. So the request is not direct because it's not to the
Sorry,
person that is in front
excuse
of me.
me.
Sarah,
I have a question. When I want to say like another favor to the third person, I can use double request.
you can use double request. It's not really common because I cannot have two questions together. So it's possible that I'm going to transform it to something simpler. For example, can you tell him to give me a call? Which, if I have the person in present, I would say, hey, do you mind if I called you, for example, or would you mind giving me a call? In this case, transforms into, can you tell him to give me a call? So
Okay,
the request is transformed, right?
okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Good. Okay, very good. Nevertheless, it's possible to make here another question. If it's, for example, information that I need to know from the other person, it's going to be possible to ask the question with the favor first, no? So, example, give me 1 second here. Let's use it in black. Yes, here. So in that case, the first part is the same. It's can you or could you? Yes. But the verb is ask. Why? Because this is a question. So that's why it's something that you ask, right? Can you ask? And then the person. Can you ask him or can you ask the manager? Can you ask the manager? And here I am going to have two types of questions. Questions which are yes or no, and questions which are WH. Yeah. Depending on that, the next part it's going to be if or whether in the case that it's a yes or no question, or the WH in the case that it's a WH question. Ready? But in this case, the second structure, as I told Sarah, is not possible to be in the interrogative sentence. Why? Because at the beginning, we already have an interrogative statement. So the second one, it includes the WH. Yes, incluye la pregunta WH. Fine. But it does not include an auxiliary or an interrogative structure. It's going to be done only in the affirmative structure. It means if, for example, here, if, then the subject, and then the verb. That's it. No more. Here, the WH, then the subject, and then the verb. That's it. Yeah. It's possible that you can have a complement. It's a possibility, but it's not always the same. For example, in this sentence, I don't have a complement. Yeah. So the question normally here in the WH question, normally it would be which dance club or which club does he prefer? That would be the normal question. Which club? Pardon, it's club. Which club does he prefer? Yes. But when I transform into a request, I include the first question. Can you ask the manager? Then this structure is going to transform into an affirmative statement. So it's going to be which club, obviamente no auxiliary, and then just subject and verb. Yeah. So the sentence would be, can you ask the manager or can you ask the person which club he prefers with the third person? Hmm? Entonces, for example, if the question is, imagine that the question is different. It's which is, or let's say, where is technical support, tech support. I need to go to tech support, but I don't know where is it. So I need somebody to tell me where is technical support. In that case, the question is where is technical support because the verb to be it's before. Yeah. But when I put it together with the other question, it's going to be changed. So I said, hey, can you ask the manager? Can, wait, sorry. A ver, come on, come on. Can you ask him where? And then I have, remember, subject and then the verb. How could it be? Where tech support? My God. Where tech support is change the position of the verb to be because it's not going to be a question anymore, but it's going to have a affirmative statement. So that's why I said, can you ask him where this technical support is? That's it, right? If it's a yes or no question, it's the same, just including if and then the subject and then the verb. Yeah. Example. The question normally would be, okay, the question could be, can I have a refund? That's the question. And it's a yes or no question. Can I have a refund? Yes. But in the like when I transform it into a favor, I'm going to say, can you ask the manager if can I is because it's a question. But in the affirmative sentence, I have subject and verb. So I said, can you ask the manager if I can have a refund? That is the complete request. Yes. So here, normally we have the common questions. The common questions are with auxiliar and when, with all of that, right? So we said, okay, can I have a refund? It would be the normal question. But when I transform into a general request, then I am going to eliminate this part. I am going to eliminate this part. Yes. And the sentence is going to be transformed like this. Okay. So can you ask the manager if I can have a refund? Can you ask the manager if, no sé, if he can process my request or something like that? It's just going to be, can you ask if or the WH correspond? How do you feel, guys? Questions, difficulties, problems, anything?
As I said, the last part of the question is the same here. Is like I can use any of this for the same situation.
In this case, you can use any of these ones for any situation because actually the person that is going to receive the message is not there. So the person really doesn't know how was the sentence like created. As you're talking only to like to a third person, to a middle person. Do you know what is the meaning of middle person? Wait. Middle. Ay, espera, porque estoy escribiendo con otro lápiz. Sorry. Middle person. You know what is that? Middle person?
No, teacher.
¿Alguien? De pronto, maybe, que será middle person.
Persona intermedia.
Un intermediario, muy bien. Ready? Entonces, when I'm using this structure or this request, I am doing it through a middle person. I am not doing it directly with the person. So the formality is not really so important here, right? Because still, I mean, depends on the formality with the middle person. Depende de la formalidad con el intermediario, right? But it's going to be exactly the same because in that case, we don't have like a more casual or more formal question. But basically, these questions are standard. So you can use it with any person. Can you tell? Can you ask? It's super good. That, no problem. It's like very formal. So you can do it with like in a casual context, but also in a formal context too. No problem. Ready? Okay. What could be possibly the difference when I'm talking to a person like it's kind of close to me, when it's like a casual conversation, it's more likely that I'm going to use structures like, for example, the imperative. Yes, because this imperative, remember that this is an instruction or an order. Obviamente, I'm not going to give orders to the manager of the store. Hmm? But probably if it's a person like the, no sé, the technician in my neighborhood, I called the secretary and said, hey, could you please tell, no sé, Pepito to put the best parts in my cell phone? Yeah. Or to have my cell phone ready for tonight. something like that, no? So because I can give an order to the person. But probably if it's like a, higher authority, I'm going to please make questions first before giving any order, before giving any instruction. Okay? Better?
Yes, teacher.
Yes. Listo, guys. Very good. We're going to finish today with a very simple activity. Give me 1 second. I'm looking it here. I'm looking it here. Okay, guys, in the chat, I am going to copy here a link. The link is going to take you to a Padlet, okay? And the Padlet, it's about, of course, request. Yeah. So the Padlet is this one. Let me just erase all the information here. Good, excellent. So in this case, we have 4 pictures, and they say, okay, write one request that you possibly see in this situation. Okay. So for example, in a business meeting, or for example, in the airplane, in the airport, yes. For example, in the restaurant, yeah. So look at the different situations here and add a comment presenting a request that you could possibly ask in that case. Direct or indirect, depends on you. Because, for example, here, if you have a request for the pilot, but it's not going to be direct. Okay? You cannot speak to the pilot. But if it's a request for the flight attendant, it's going to be direct. ¿Cierto? The same here. If it's for the waiter, pues it's a direct request. But if it's a request for the chef, for example, it's not going to be direct. Ready? So look at the images. Choose one, only one. And in one of the images, please put one request that you would like to add. Something simple. You can add, I don't know, for example, here, like, Mrs. Okay, is it okay, for example, is it okay if I take my shoes off? Is it okay if I take my... Siempre me pregunto eso, cómo la gente se quita los zapatos en el avión. Like, I think it's comfortable, but that comfortable? No sé. So, is it okay if I take my shoes off, for example? No, the person is going to ask. Or, I don't know, in the airport. Is it okay if I pass my cat with me? Something like that, no? So, look at the images and write a request in any of the situations that you want.
So you're gonna send us the
I already did. I sent you the link in the chat.
chat.
Ah, changos,
No,
wait, no, momento, wait, because I sent the message. Ah, ok, espérame un segundo. Yes, tan chistoso el profe, right. Ahora sí. Okay, so you got some of you. It says, would it be all right if I called you back with an offer? Okay, good, excellent. Could you tell to the boss? Could you tell the boss? Good. Not necessarily the use of to. No problem. Could you tell the boss that I want to give him the report? Very good. Excellent. That's an easy one. Good. Excellent. Right. Hey, John. Says another one. Could you please give me a napkin? Okay, good. Like, could you please give me a napkin? More commonly in that case, it's like a permission like, can I have? Yeah, it's a little bit more formal. Oh, may I have a napkin, please? Good. That it's good. It's good. Mhm, mhm.
Teacher, I use a lot of could. Is it wrong?
No,
I
it's not
always
wrong.
use could,
No, it's
but
not wrong. It's just that it can sound no, but it's good. Yes, like could you pass me or could you please give me a no, could you please give me a napkin? It's fine. It's just that in the restaurant they are very formal with the waiters, no? So it's not like here in Colombia that we say like Bessie, me hace un favor, me regalas." It's just more formal with the waiters. So it says like, can I have
and now I have more options.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah, that's true. Exactly. Okay. Bueno, anybody else? I think that you're writing. Sarah and Emily are writing, but I'm not sure. Okay, Emily says, would you mind telling me where is the check-in? Okay, careful. Check-in, en este caso check-in, no es del verbo check, revisar, sino el proceso de check-in es check-in. ¿Listo? Porque es como adentro, right? O sea, es como revisar para entrar, right? So that's why it's check-in. No check-in con ing, sino check-in, right? Muy bien, pero excelente. So would you mind telling me where the check-in counter es como la mesa, so where the check-in counter, y recuerda que el verbo va al final, is, right? So, una pregunta muy normal que hacemos en el aeropuerto, ¿no? So, would you mind telling me where the check-in counter is? Perfecto, very good. ¿Listo? Bueno, guys, entonces, pues, basically, ahí pueden escribir más requests, si se les ocurren, pueden escribir más requests ahí, ¿listo? En ese link no hay problema. Pero pues básicamente, bueno, John escribió otra. It says, could you please help me with the boarding pass? Okay, good, excellent. Could you please help me with the boarding pass? Yes. O could you please help me with my baggage? Or so on, ¿no? Entonces, básicamente la idea de esta semana, y was talking about problems, era hablar como de problemas, ¿sí? Pero también de soluciones. So, at the end, it is torn, it is broken, it keeps flickering, no sé qué, bla, 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 right? And then the solution, it needs repairing, it needs da da da. And now today it's talking about favors or requests. Yes, asking the other person to help me with that solution. Not like, hey, that needs painting. So would you mind helping me to paint it? Or would you mind sending me a person for that? Or in the case that it's a product that I bought online in the mail, no, imagine that it's in the mail. Would you mind giving me an answer? Would you mind helping me with a refund or something like that, right? Sara escribió, I was wondering if you could bring me a pillow. Perfecto, muy bien. I was wondering if you could bring me a pillow. Muy buena request. Ready? Entonces, guys, la idea era eso, pues es como un todo completo, ¿cierto? Entonces, now you can talk about the problems that you find on the objects. Now you can talk about the solutions that what it needs, what the object needs. And now you can process a request in which you ask the person, hey, help me with that. Yes. Or it's possible that it's a casual thing, a formal thing, or even giving the message to a third person, no? Passing the message from a person to a person so the other person can receive it, right? So that's all what you have been doing in this week and nothing. I think that it has been a great class. So thank you for attending here, guys. Next week, it's also two classes. So we're going to have both at night. Okay, ready? Mm. Listo, guys. So thank you for being here. Thank you for the participation and great request, by the way. Great request. So see you in the next classes next week. And don't forget to complete the activities on the platform, including the checkpoint 1 and 2. Okay, because that is part of the week 2, including checkpoint 1 and 2. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
teacher.
Thanks to you. Goodbye. Have a
Bye.
good day.
Thank you.
Bye bye.